media. All of the partisans out there just know that was not the media. That was just, yeah. But I like media. If you guys want to clap too, you can. That's fine. I was listening to a church sermon that was super powerful, and the speaker said, "If you know, you know," and he was talking about, of course, the gospel of Jesus Christ, but this idea of if you know, you know, is something that we kind of talk about with our team a little bit too, and we have a long way to go. We have so much work to do, but in terms of one night for these guys to actually be in this for each other, that's going to be the key to this team. As much as we can just stay in this for each other, we have a chance to be a good team, and so I'm super proud of them. Fire away with questions.
Yeah, Mark, I'll ask you as tactfully as I can. I saw Malachi 2 years ago in the state Final Four, and several of us in here did. The impression was, wow, he's soft. Yeah. He's big, but he's soft. And then you see what you see tonight. What happened?
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. You know, I've got to know his family really well. His mom is incredible, and his brother Michael has been oriented his whole life to take care of his brother. And Malachi himself has just made great changes. You know, I talked about this summer when I was at USA and saw him compete. I was just blown away also, because I saw the same player that you did. I wouldn't use the word soft, but I would have just said he was kind of a one-position guy, wasn't rebounding out of his position, wasn't rim protecting out of his position, and he's just made incredible progress, and that's a real tribute to his family and himself. But he's got a chance to grow into a really special player. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got so much growth ahead of him, but he's got a chance to have a massive impact on this game.
Coach, you've mentioned kind of all preseason how important these exhibition games are, even though they don't count towards anything. What's something you've learned about your team that you can help use to carry you through the rest of a tough pre-conference schedule?
I was really proud of us in the first half offensively, because we weren't very good. But when we weren't very good, we tried to solve it by being us. You know, we had 7 cut assists and 7 screen assists on the night, and so there were several stymied late possessions in the first half where we didn't just try and go fix it the way that these guys have always fixed it their whole life. They fixed it our way. We had stretches in the second half where we got away from that a little bit, which is understandable right now, but I was really proud of that, and it's a good sign for us.
Mark, where has Jasper made maybe the biggest stride over these past few weeks especially? And then how do you kind of channel all of the things that he can do into one focused product, I guess, out there on the court?
Jasper, I'm really proud of Jasper because he is trying so hard to learn what we do. And he hasn't. He's got a very unique game. He's got a really unique skill set. And he has committed himself to trying to do what we do and then letting that part of him that he brings to the game come out through it rather than just going to what he does. And it's why he's growing so much so fast. He's clearly a really talented player that's got a huge future, but he's going to play well because he's trying to do this the way we do it. And it's going to make him look good, and it certainly did tonight.
Coach, you had 10 players tonight play more than 15 minutes, and your preseason All-SEC guard and your projected NBA first-round draft pick weren't on the floor tonight. Yep. How are you going to find minutes for all these guys when everybody gets back?
Well, I actually didn't think we played as hard consistently as we can. I thought one of the things that was effective, this Purdue team's great. They're the number 1 team in the country, and they're going to be unbelievable. And they're on the road. None of us have even installed most of what we do yet, so there's all those things. But, they didn't shoot the ball particularly well tonight, and I'm hoping that part of it was just that there was somewhat of a relentless pressure and pace to the game. And so I actually felt like we didn't play as hard as we're going to have to play to win consistently. So I kind of was looking at the bench being like, I need fresh bodies. So we'll continue to work on our conditioning, but it's a matter of how much pressure can we exert on this game every single second of the game. And that will help us defensively. It will help us offensively because it breaks open things, just the fatigue and the unrelenting pressure. I was sitting in the office with Lee just after I met with the team and just looking at the box score, and I was like, man, this feels like my 96 team in terms of this point distribution. Can you do that in 25, 26? Like, can we actually pull it off where we have guys that care so much about each other and so much about Kentucky that they're willing to do this? We're going to see. But if we can do it, it's a really fun way to play, man. It's pretty special.
Coach, obviously Colin Chandler only had 2 points, but led the team in plus-minus with 15. What does that say about how he can contribute it without scoring? And then what have you seen from him in the offseason?
Yeah, he was the highlight for the whole game for me. I would give him the MVP of the game. That's the defining feature of who, if this team wants to do something historic, that's what we need. We need to champion it, and we need to take pride in it, and we need to be like, yes, that was me. And he was unbelievable. He played 15 minutes. He was a plus 15, I think. He was a plus 1 per minute. That's a ridiculous ratio for anything over 6 or 7 minutes of play. And he had a ridiculously spectacular dunk. But I have so much confidence in him to make the right decision on offense, and so much confidence in him to be incredibly defensively sound with great energy. And you have guys like that, and it just makes you feel good as a coach, because good things are going to happen when he's on the floor. The dunk was spectacular, but he had 2 elite level weight in the corner, full speed cuts where he hit the roll late that just broke it open. Our bigs finally started rolling. Like the whole first half, one of the things that we were stuck on was we couldn't get our bigs to roll. They were just, I think, partly some fatigue and just the head spinning because of the deal, but he really got us started, and then everyone else saw how that felt, the roll guys and the live ball handlers, and then you have Mo making that play, and you got Jasper making that play, and DA making that play, and so it was contagious. He had a massive impact on the game.
Mark, you mentioned during the offseason you thought Jasper, Ortega, Denzel, and Colin could be like the next guys up when it comes to running the point, and they combined for 10 assists and only 4 turnovers tonight. So how did you feel like that quartet stepped in for Jalen?
Yeah, I thought they were good. I think, you kind of feel, and this Purdue is a unique team. We're going to see very different challenges from other teams, right? This is a very unique team. Their DNA is not to really put a ton of pressure on the ball. They beat you in other ways, but I thought our guys, for the most part, handled it well. I thought our bigs had a chance to grow in that sense. BG had a couple elite level reads where he was getting to the second and third cutter that were really elite level plays, and then he got carried away a couple times. Malachi had a really important play for him as they were really trying to press the 5 and get out to the wings, and we were encouraging our bigs in trail 5 to go attack the no gap pressure, and he did, and I was really proud of him because he didn't. He got all the way down the rim. He was bullied all the way down to the rim and kind of finished with a nice left hand finish. And so, I think Mo igniting the break was really solid a couple times. I thought Yella, even though he's not allowed to dribble, he actually ignited the break a couple times and was really effective making a simple play.
Mark, obviously we know Malachi's big dunk. That came after a pretty poor 3-point attempt. Jasper got a good steal in the first half after giving up a turnover. For you guys to accomplish what you're wanting to accomplish this year, how important is it for your young guys, your freshmen, to be able to respond to adversity that way mid-game?
That was we must have said next play 10 times in the huddle before we walked out on the floor to start the game. It's just really important when you're trying to come, this idea of coming in wave after wave after wave and kind of keeping the pressure on. There's going to be mistakes in the game, and it's just if we do this right, the way this team is built to try and compete, kind of using what our strength is, then we just have to move on to the next play. And I thought those guys did that brilliantly. I thought a bunch of guys did. Cam shot a 24 foot shot 32 feet, and then he came back and banged an impossible shot, right? Moving on to the next one. And we had a bunch of plays like that where guys just moved on to the next play pretty well, and that's going to be important for us all year long. We're going to have to get better and better and better at it.
I've got two questions for you. What did you think about the guards and stepping up with Jalen Lowe being, of course, missing this game, being injured? And then what did you also think about Mo Diabate, his physicality coming from Alabama to here?
I do think there's going to be a lot of BBN. Mo Diabate is their favorite player. I mean, he just plays with all his guts spilling out all over the floor. He plays hard, and he just plays hard, and you know, he's got a lot of fans in my own family right now that are like, we love this Mo Diabate, and I do too, and so I thought he was great tonight.
Mark, right here. I know defense was an area that you really wanted to focus on this summer. Matt Painter kind of talked about how there wasn't much defense in this game. Just what can you take away with the lack of defense to improve on going forward?
Yeah, I think we can get better. I think this is two teams that traditionally have been elite level offensive teams. I think that I felt like our navigation through traffic was poor today, but that's a credit to what Purdue does. They wait, they cut hard, they set up cuts, and they screen hard, and they're big bodies. Like those three guys are big bodied guys. But we have to get way better at navigating traffic away from the ball. It's really, really important. I thought we did that poorly. We've had a tough time guarding ourselves, and we had a tough time being there on the catch. We were trying to open the big so that we could take a best route, and we were pretty stubborn with it. I felt like we were cutting the angle off of the first initial screen. I thought we were doing a poor job cutting the angle. Like you kind of need a 270 degree kind of cut to actually get under so you can be there on the other side. When we finally did it, Lawyer actually pulled up behind. It was an off rhythm shot. It was different for him, and so those adjustments are things that are really important that we have to get better at. I thought our third defender was really inconsistent on ball screens. I would like to get to the point where we're switching way more. I did think that our monster was effective tonight. It was, our double team in the post was effective today, minus the fouls. This is exactly what it is, guys. We've been practicing for 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and 4.5 weeks. And so that's just what this is. Like, this is a preseason game, but it was probably the most fun exhibition game I've ever been a part of. I know BBN was totally frustrated about playing the number 1 ranked team in the country in exhibition, but I like it. So you guys are going to have to live with it.
We're going to do 2 more. Here in the front and then 1 in the back.
Mark, how valuable is a game like this for small situations like at the end of the half? There's 4 seconds left, the out of bounds.
Yeah.
Purdue, I think, is probably really good at executing stuff like that.
Neither of us are clean yet. I mean, neither of us are clean at all, but I was, it was like BH sat on the bench for 19 minutes and 56 seconds. And then to be able to put him in there where he actually his length is ridiculous. And this is an incredibly talented player, by the way. He's going to be a big-time pro. But for him to be responsive and to go in there, and he's really difficult. In that situation, he's the best guy on our team by far. And there's a lot of situations where he's really good. And then for Malachi and Andrea to kind of talk out, we're in a Brutus defense, which is a little bit of a different defensive scheme, and for those guys to be able to talk out the bigs matchup, and Malachi to be able to chase that ball without fouling, to do it legally, all those things were really important. So, we also had some really poor execution in short and late clock situations. So it's all space where we're going to continue to grow and get better.
Mark, back here. So I noticed after the game there was a lot of camaraderie. You were giving towels to put on Jasper's head. Just what did you see from the chemistry of your team today during their first time in Rupp Arena?
I was proud of our guys. I thought our bench was elite. I think Jalen Lowe was unbelievable on the bench. I thought Jalen Lowe was, he'd be probably my second player of the game. He was unbelievable on the bench, keeping guys engaged and talking. I thought our staff was really good on the bench, communicating, and we're going to need that. Like, there's going to be this is going to be like every season, this is going to be up and down, rocky road, huge challenge season, and we're going to have to overcome adversity. But we're trying to create habits. And so the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. So there was some intangible stuff that I thought we did pretty well tonight that we're working so hard to make it a habit. Alvin Brooks is probably probably the leader in all of basketball. Actually, Alvin Brooks probably is in terms of body language and team communication. And he grades our team every single day and on every single touch, every single beast mode, every single interaction. Like, it's a painstaking work, but it's really important. And so we're going to have to continue to have that juice and get better and better and better at it. And it shows in post game. And we're going to be really successful if we can love each other. Like, we're going to be really successful if we can care about this team. 51% of us can care about this team. That would be unprecedented if we could get there. And so our guys are working hard at it. They're trying to develop habits. They're working hard to love each other, and that's going to be an everyday, all season long challenge for us that we're gonna keep fighting. I love it. I think if we can do it, if we can do it, not only are we gonna have a great team, but we're gonna be a great example to the world about just like having something more important than just yourself. And these guys have a chance to be great examples. So, I mean, we haven't even started the season yet, but those are our goals. That's what we'd like to do. Okay, thanks, guys.